There is a place on Earth where sound doesn't just fade, it disappears. No wind, no echo, no footsteps returning to you. Just nothing. Welcome to the quietest place on our planet. A silence so complete, it begins to feel unnatural. A silence so deep, it can change the way your mind works. This is not a myth. This is real. And almost no one can endure it. Hidden inside a laboratory in Minnesota, USA, lies a chamber unlike anything ever built. It's called the anechoic chamber, a room designed to absorb 100% of sound. Not reduce it. Not soften it. Erase it. The walls are lined with massive foam wedges, carefully engineered to trap sound waves before they can bounce back. The floor? Suspended mesh. Even your footsteps have nowhere to echo. In this room, the noise level drops below -9 decibels. To understand that, the threshold of human hearing is 0 decibels. This place goes beyond silence. It enters a realm humans were never meant to experience. At first, stepping inside feels almost peaceful. Your brain, used to constant noise, traffic, voices, distant hums, finally gets a break. It feels like calm, like relief. But then, something strange happens. As the outside world disappears, your internal world begins to grow louder. Much louder. Within seconds, people start hearing things they've never noticed before. Their own breathing, sharp and heavy. Their heartbeat, pulsing in their ears. The subtle movement of joints, bones shifting with every motion. Some even hear the sound of their own blood flowing. Imagine that. Not metaphorically. Literally. Without external sound to anchor you, your brain turns inward. It starts searching, craving, any signal it can find. And when it finds none, it begins to create them. People who've entered this chamber report something deeply unsettling. At around the 1-minute mark, balance starts to fade. Without echoes, your brain loses its sense of space. You can't tell how far away the walls are. You can't even trust your own movements. Standing becomes difficult. Walking becomes nearly impossible. You begin to feel lost in a room you know is only a few meters wide. Then comes the psychological shift. The silence starts to press against you. Not physically, mentally. After a few minutes, hallucinations can begin. Soft whispers, distant tones, phantom sounds that aren't real, but feel completely real. Your mind, desperate for stimulation, starts filling the void. It becomes your own worst enemy. The longest anyone has lasted in this chamber is just 45 minutes. Not hours. Not days. 45 minutes. And even that required immense mental control. Most people can't last more than 10. Think about that. In a world where we crave peace and quiet, true silence is something we cannot survive. Why? Because humans were never designed for it. For millions of years, our brains evolved in a noisy world. Rustling leaves meant danger. Footsteps meant presence. Voices meant connection. Sound was survival. Silence meant something was wrong. In nature, complete silence almost never exists. Even in the deepest forests, there are insects, wind, distant movement. Even in the Arctic, there is shifting ice. Total silence is unnatural. And when we encounter it, our brain goes into alert mode. It begins asking questions it cannot answer. Where am I? Am I safe? What's happening? And when those questions go unanswered, fear begins to grow. But here's the most disturbing part. The chamber doesn't just affect your hearing. It changes your perception of reality. Without sound reflections, your brain loses its ability to map space. You become disoriented. Your sense of direction fades. Even time begins to feel distorted. Minutes stretch into something longer, heavier. You feel like you've been inside forever, even when it's only been a few moments. Some describe it as floating in nothingness. Others say it feels like being buried alive, without the weight. A void. A complete sensory isolation that forces you to confront something most people avoid. Yourself. Because when the world goes silent, there is nothing left to distract you. No notifications. No conversations. No background noise. Just your thoughts. Unfiltered. Uninterrupted. And that can be terrifying. In everyday life, we escape our minds constantly. We scroll, we talk, we listen. We fill every quiet moment with something. But inside this chamber, you can't escape. Your thoughts become louder. Memories surface. Regrets whisper. Anxieties echo in the emptiness. It becomes less about silence and more about confrontation. This is why true silence is so powerful and so dangerous. Scientists didn't build this chamber to scare people. It was created for testing, to measure the sound of products, microphones, speakers, electronics, without interference. A place of perfect acoustic control. But what they discovered was something far deeper. Silence, in its purest form, is not peaceful. It's overwhelming. And yet, there's something fascinating about it. Something almost addictive. Because hidden inside that silence is a truth we rarely face. We are not afraid of noise. We are afraid of what happens when it disappears. In the absence of sound, we are left alone with the one voice we cannot turn off. Our own. And maybe that's why, even in the quietest moments of our lives, we instinctively reach for something. Music. Conversation. Anything to break the stillness. Because deep down, we know silence is not empty. It's full of everything we try to ignore. So the next time you find yourself in a quiet room, pay attention. Not to what you hear, but to what you don't. Because somewhere, beyond the edge of human comfort, there exists a place where silence is absolute. A place where sound cannot survive. A place where the mind begins to unravel. Not from noise, but from its absence. And in that place, you don't just hear silence. You feel it.